Asmongold put out a video, what was it, 4 days ago? 6 days ago, yeah, almost a week ago. I kept meaning to watch this, but I kept forgetting to bring it up on stream. He put out a video about a week ago about the current state of he's labeled the video we live in an assassination culture. And I think with what occurred in DC today, or was it yesterday? With the shots fired near the White House, and then the shots taken at the vice president's. Was it yesterday? Okay, it was yesterday. Yeah, with the two shootings that occurred by the White House and at the vice president's motorcade. I want to watch this because it's I want to hear his thoughts on this, because we are seeing a significant escalation of lethal violence being used against the government right now. And like I want to hear his thoughts on this, because it's becoming much more prevalent these days. So let's hear what he has to say.
Assassination culture, that's what I'm calling it. It's bad now, and it's going to get a whole lot worse. I want to make this video because in 2, 5, 3, 10 years from now, I want to be able to go back to this video and say, see guys, I told you so. And if I'm not right, I'm going to delete the video. So anyway, this has been, I think, escalating. It's been going crazier and crazier. We've had now the third or fifth, or I lose count, how many attempts on Donald Trump's life. Somebody, well, I'm really mad, I'm going to shoot the president. Oh boy. That's going to solve all your problems. And so you have these people that are doing this, and this is really, really escalated ever since, and I mean, let's be honest here, it's been escalating ever since BLM. That's whenever being a crazy retard became the socially acceptable thing to do. And now...
And by the way, that happened because no one got punished. With the riots that occurred with BLM, it became it's not only became socially acceptable, it was basically given permission, because how many people, when those riots happened with BLM, that scam organization that's literally scammed people out of millions of dollars so they could buy fancy homes and cars and yachts, etc. How many people that were involved in those riots actually went to jail? How many of the people that were involved in those riots actually saw consequences? Some of them did, sure. Some of them were able to be identified and, were and maybe went to prison for a little while for it. But the vast majority of them did it. And so what did that do? That taught these people that they can act like these animals and they won't suffer any consequences for it. And it basically set the bar, it set the standard that, hey, we can basically do this in the name of fraudulent righteousness because we want it, because, again, doing it for the fifis, while at the same time, you got people that are criminals that are like, we can use this as a cover to commit crime. And by using this as a cover to commit crime, we're going to get away scot-free because they can't catch us all, can they? That's more a prevalent point than just saying the BLM, basically gave permission to act like retards. It did, because no one suffered consequences because of it.
Everybody's a crazy retard. And these are people who think that they are fighting for civil rights. It's like, you're not Rosa Parks sitting at the front of the bus whenever you're burning down an Uber driver's Tesla because Elon Musk made you mad. You're not fighting for civil rights. You're trying to take them away.
I couldn't understand why BLM was beloved by so many people. Simple, because a lot of the people that were involved in the quote-unquote protests were paid off by the Southern Poverty Legal Center. That's come out now okay, quick and dirty. Around the time of when BLM happened, racism was kind of at a really low point, i.e. there was not a lot of there really wasn't racism happening. There was actual equality. There was like legitimate, like probably some of the best levels of racial equality in a very long time. And the Southern Poverty Legal Center wasn't receiving donations to defend people that were afflicted by quote unquote racism. So what happened is the Southern Poverty Legal Center actually paid people to be agitators to create these problems, to create the protests. They paid the like quote unquote white supremacist march. They actually spent millions of dollars to facilitate these protests, to facilitate these riots, and in return, they were getting exponentially more millions in donations. So yeah, that's why BLM became a thing, because it was literally created by organizations like the Southern Poverty Law Center. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Southern Poverty, what? Does it sound like I'm saying something different? I've been saying the Southern Poverty. I said legal center. It's law center. Excuse me. Misdid that word, but same fucking thing. They literally created the problem to facilitate. They literally created BLM to make money. That's always what it boils down to. They do thing to make money. That's literally every fucking organization out there. The majority of these charitable organizations literally operate on the basis of getting fucking rich. And that's what BLM was. BLM was people like the SPLC creating the problem that was not there in order to get rich. Created by 3 women. Sure, you believe that? You really believe it was just 3 women created it, and that the SPLC wasn't in the background facilitating that, like telling maybe these 3 women, hey, you should do this. Oh, and by the way, we're gonna fund you. Huh? Yeah.
Way. Everybody wants to have an election. You don't like the way it turns out. Time to burn everything down. Well, can you imagine what it would be like if everybody did this? Oh my God. It would be crazy. And this is the form of third worldism. And I talk about this a lot. Well, I'm still on Twitch now. And I talk about this, though, because this is the mentality of when the existing systems do not create the outcome that you like, even though all of the systems are working properly, you're being represented, you just simply don't have the numbers to achieve your goals. Whenever this happens to you, the result is not, well, I guess I have to work harder, I have to get more people to agree with me. No, the result is, now I'm going to set something on fire. I'm going to try to shoot somebody. I'm going to try to cause some sort of I'm going to stand, get this, guys, I'm going to stand in the middle of the road for Iran. Thank God. Thank God. That's going to save them. Oh, for sure. Exactly. And if anything, it's going to make the gas prices go even higher. So anyway, this is what I think is happening, is that people have socially normalized the act of bad behavior, violence, aggression, hostility, and
I'm going to take that a step further and say it is not merely been normalized, it is encouraged. Okay, I'd like, Asinville's kind of being a little bit nicer, saying by calling it normalized. No, people are actually flat out encouraged to escalate, encouraged to do everything that he just said. So it's one step above, honestly.
They've done so with a righteous indignation that has enabled them to justify doing so as being the heroes of their own story. Is it too many Marvel movies? I don't know. But it's too many something. Maybe it's too many antidepressants. I have no idea, but I know it's a big issue. And I think I know where things are going with this. Because we can't live in a society that's like this. You can't have a society where people steal things, people are being violent randomly, and people decide to kill elected representatives. If you want a country like that, go to Africa. There's plenty of them.
Yes.
They're called PvP servers. I
go to the Middle East.
Don't want to be on one. So these people are trying to turn our normal country, and this is happening in Europe too. So
no, this is not a Euro complex. Yeah, it's not. I understand why you might think it's a Euro complex, like they're championing something. No, it's not. This is literally like toddler tantrum behavior. This is, I'm not getting what I want, so I'm going to throw a tantrum, but instead of a toddler just screaming and flopping on the ground and ticking and screaming, like, I want this, they're adults, they have adult toys to play with, and so they have a tantrum in an adult way, and that adult way involves violence. That's what it boils down to. I want to be taken, I want to be taken care of. I don't want to have to do anything. I think I should be completely taken care of so I can sit on my ass all day and jerk off jerk off to the hub. And the fact that I'm not allowed to do that, well, that makes me angry. And so, and because I have someone of a different political ideology saying that I should not be allowed to do that, well, they're now an enemy and they should be destroyed.
If you're European and you're like, oh, this doesn't apply to me, we don't have this problem. Yeah, you do. They're driving through the fucking crowds with trucks instead of guns. Oh, wow, that's so much better. You guys have problems too. This is a problem inside of all of Western civilization because I think that we have culturally not been willing to just put our foot down with these fucking freaks. These absolute fucking deranged, mentally ill, violent, psychotic freaks that need to be put in a mental institution and locked up indefinitely. And everybody else, by the way, if we did this, everybody would be living in paradise. Everything would be great. Everything would be amazing. Oh, wow, I go to CVS. Oh, I want to buy a candy bar. Well, let me go speak to the manager's manager so he can get the special key that was made by, the Wizard of Oz to open it up for me to get a Reese's peanut butter cups.
You think he's joking? That's real. I've seen the video footage of like corner convenience stores and grocery stores where they literally have bags of chips, like bags of Doritos in like those alarm keyed like acrylic boxes. You literally cannot get a bag of chips at a corner store without it being taken out of a secure box. You can't get a toothbrush without an employee unlocking like the little hub where they're stored to get them out for you. You can't get a gallon of milk without the employee coming over to unlock the cooler. That's the state of the U.S. And guess what? It's the U.S. People that want to dump on places, I don't know, like Canada, about being, a hellhole right now, guess what? I went to the grocery store today. I got milk today. I got food for Scout today. Guess how many employees I needed to go talk to get any one of the items that I wanted to get today? 0. Fucking 0. But in the United States, if you want to get a bag of chips, you better get the employee to unsecure that lockbox so you can get a $3 bag of fucking Doritos. That's where a lot of places, mostly major cities. It is mostly major cities, but that's the fucking state in a lot of the major metropolitan areas in the U.S. And guess why it's happening that way? Guess why this has happened? Because the corrupt politicians are basically saying, don't charge people with crimes. They're just poor, misunderstood souls. Just let them out, and they do it again and again and again and again and again. It's now become learned behavior because no one suffers consequences anymore. Unless you're white. If you're white, then you just basically get the book thrown at you.
No, I don't think so, guys. And before you say, oh, well, they're stealing because they're poor, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't eat makeup, all right? No, they're not. They're stealing because they can and because they're getting away with it. And so we have a world where we have enabled and allowed this completely destructive behavior because people...
And yes, you're right. McDonald's is going to remove the self-serve drink machines by, 2032 or 2038? The self-serve drink machines will be no more. That, honestly, I could care less about. But the removal of the self-serve drink machines, along with basically where you can't, get your own ketchup or anything anymore, you know what that's leading to? I've said this. In the next 5 years, I'm going to say in roughly the next 5 to 7 years, at most, there will no longer be any dine-in at any fast food restaurant. In the next 5 to 7 years, every single fast food restaurant, at least in the U.S., will be drive-through or takeaway only. There will be 0 in-seat dining at any fast food restaurant, and you'll be lucky if you'll only be able to do pickup. You'll be ordering from their digital menu, pickup only, and drive-through only. That is coming. And they're already trying to AI the shit out of the ordering service, so they can basically cut down and only have like maybe 3 employees in the entire building. That's the route you're going. That's what's going to happen. And in 5 to 7 years, every single fast food restaurant in the country will be that way. Every single one. Mark my words.
And allowed this completely destructive behavior because people have been mentally guilt tripped and emotionally manipulated into
the cargo in and out's going to go that way too. It's literally every fast food restaurant in the country is going to go that route. And by the way, retails are probably going to go that route too. I imagine you're going to start seeing retail stores that are going to go from actual walk-in, browse around and shop to being glorified warehouses where you will order online or you'll order from a touchscreen board outside of the business, or maybe in a small little vestibule, and it's literally pickup only, no more browsing. That's going to happen to retail stores too. That all of it's you're gonna be, because of the rampant theft that's occurring, in-store shopping will very, very soon be a thing of the past across the entire country.
Behavior because people have been mentally guilt tripped and emotionally manipulated into thinking that this is somehow the only outcome that a person can have. Well, I had things hard as a kid. That means I steal Kias and I drive them down the highway at 150 miles an hour. Well, you know what? My dad wasn't around, so that means I get to burn down the 7-Eleven. I don't fucking think so, guys. I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody else likes this either. I have what I call the 7-Eleven Eclair Index. Let me explain what that is. We all know 7-Eleven Eclairs, right? Right? I think hopefully I'm not doing a fat piece of shit here. I'm not fat, I'm trans fat, but it's the same thing. And you go to 7-Eleven and they have the Eclairs in the little bakery goods thing. Well, I found that if you want to go late at night and you want to get one of those eclairs, you have to go to a 7-Eleven that doesn't have any hobos or anybody around, like any of these random, somebody's talking to their knife. There's not going to be any eclairs in that 7-Eleven. Let me tell you that. And so nobody wants to be around this shit. Nobody wants to deal with this, but nobody wants to say it because they've created this sort of like, some sort of moral cachet in complete societal dysfunction. And I think that it's reaching a fever pitch.
It's more than that. It's not like moral societal decay. It's if you say something about it, you immediately get dogpiled by basically the left for saying, how can you say such a terrible thing about these poor unfortunate souls? What are you, a Nazi? Are you racist? And for people that don't have the mentality of, I don't give a fuck what you have to say, your words mean nothing to me, you've destroyed all language. For people that don't have that mentality, that like maybe want to actually like just be normal, good people, and they're not combative. They're not, what's the word I'm looking for? Fuck, I've lost the word. Confrontational. That's what I'm looking for. They're not a confrontational person. And so these people that are, and by and large, most people are probably not confrontational. They just want to go out, live their lives, and they don't want to basically cause problems. For these people that are like that they don't want to say anything, because the moment they do, the screeching SJRs, which are the loudest voices in the room, will immediately start dogpiling on them. And in this day and age, those SJRs will get violent. If they, if you basically say the trigger words, or if one of their own says the trigger words and labels you as a Nazi, as a fascist, as a racist, as whatever istophobe that they're using in that moment, and then they might get their rabid dogs to attack you because you have now just been labeled as a viable target simply for calling out bad behavior and saying, hey, this person is a criminal, they should be arrested and they should be treated like a criminal, or this person is exhibiting bad behavior, they need to stop. And then they don't want these people to basically paint the target on them to basically be attacked and potentially killed. That's what it is, in my opinion.
complete societal dysfunction. And I think that it's reaching a fever pitch. I think if they ever succeed, oh, let's say you shoot Trump. Oh, yeah, all your problems are going to go away now with President J.D. Vance. Yeah, oh, you should shoot him. Oh, well, now you've got Marco Rubio. It's not going to work, right? You're going to have to shoot a lot more people than that, right? And my opinion on this is let's not shoot anybody. How about just bring a better candidate next time and get more of your guys out to vote, and maybe something will happen that's in your favor. But
here's the problem. They don't have one. All of their candidates that they have are disgusting human beings that want to turn the nation into a communist country. And the rational thinking people that will tip the scales at the voting booths know this. Because if they, they bring up, they put a Kamala Harris up there, they put a Gavin Newsom up there. They are abjectly they have been vocal about wanting to turn the nation into a communist nation, and not like the large swath of the middle ground people that no one ever talks about will recognize that as being fucking insane, and they'll never vote for him. And so they'll vote for the next Trump, whoever that might be.
But, oh, well, we can't do that. And so anyway, this is what I think things are going, is that we are reaching a position where there is so much just day-to-day societal dysfunction, just average dysfunction. Like you go to the store. Like I went to Walmart and I went to buy a pack of underwear. Now I'm a 35-year-old man. This doesn't embarrass me.
I heard him tell the story.
Because, I've got a few gray hairs. But if I was 18, I would have been mortified by this. The woman had to unlock the underwear case, pull out the underwear, and I said, okay, can I have them? She says, yes, you can have them. I have to walk them up to the fucking register. And of course, you have like 17 different registers at the Walmart. 3 of them, no, that's not true. 1 of them is open. And so I have to go there. I'm sitting in this long line. And she says, yeah, he's buying underwear. These underwear are for him. And it's like, oh my God, this is, it's mortifying. It's embarrassing, right?
And by the way, Asmongold, I don't think he lives in a major city. Okay? I don't believe Asmon lives in Austin proper. At least does he live in Austin proper? Okay, so he lives in Austin proper. And yes, Austin is a very blue city. Which is kind of funny because how many years ago was it that everybody was championing Texas? That all of the people in California that had enough of California were flocking to Texas because Texas was going to be such a bastion of like Republican goodness where you didn't have to deal with all the SJRs. Look what's happening to Texas right now. Okay, Texas is actually trying, like there is efforts right now underway in Texas, not in Austin proper, but in Texas. They're actually trying to build Muslim cities in Texas right now that will be basically operating, as I understand it, not based on U.S. law. But they are actually trying to build full Muslim cities in Texas. Yeah, Texas is not the bastion of, conservative ideals that it was touted to be. Just so you guys are aware.
Again, like it's the kind of thing that, you get old enough and you just laugh at it. But whenever you're younger, it's ridiculous. And I still laugh at it, but it's for a different fucking...
Wait, I get that. There was, I'm trying to remember who did this interview. Someone actually did a phone interview with, oh shit, I can't remember his name. I'm blanking on the names of who did the interview. It was like, God, it was like an African American legal YouTuber. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. He actually did an interview with a public official in Texas that was basically talking about the efforts. I think it was Nate the lawyer. That could be it. Yeah, I think it might have been Nate the lawyer. He did a phone interview with a government official talking about the efforts being made to basically build full Muslim cities in Texas. I don't remember the public official's name. I'm sorry, I saw it like a couple days ago, so I don't recall all the names. But yes, I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. This literally is happening right now in Texas. Was it Frisco? Okay, it's Frisco, Texas. So yeah, it is happening.
Whenever you're younger, it's ridiculous. And I still laugh at it, but it's for a different fucking reason. I'm mortified for a different reason. I'm mortified that I'm living in a minimum security prison. The entire world is being turned into a minimum security prison so we can accommodate the bottom 2% of the bad actors in our society. Everybody has to live in this because we don't want to put them in it. It drives me fucking crazy. It makes me so angry. And I think people are getting tired of this. I think eventually what's going to happen is there's going to be somebody that runs for government, somebody that runs for office that says, I'm going to stop this. And they will. And it's not going to be a good thing. And the thing is that, and everybody will be happy for this, because you have to remember, I think it was Benjamin Franklin that said, the people who desire safety over freedom deserve neither, right? Or something, some variation of that, right? Well, this is the problem with what Benjamin Franklin said. Back then, they didn't have universal suffrage. Now they do. And when everybody can vote, most people are going to choose safety every.
Well, also back when Benjamin Franklin said that, the right to vote was limited to landowners and not illegal immigrants or literally every dumb fuck that just said, I want to cast a vote. So, and, everybody that quotes that loves to like issue these quotes from the revolutionary period when the country was first born, and they love to basically stand on the shoulders of great people that would have probably like knocked them the fuck out if they were actually still around today, conveniently forget that the country and society was extremely different back then when that quote was made, and they did not anticipate what we are seeing today. And so, like, anytime somebody likes to pull out quotes from that era and basically hold it aloft as, this is why I should be able to do whatever the fuck that I want, I look at them and go, you're full of shit. You're bastardizing the quotes of great men from a society that was in no way, shape, or form the same as it is today. And it's just like, okay, I was going to start talking about the First Amendment, but I'm going to leave that be because that doesn't qualify for the discussion currently at hand. It will come up another time, I'm sure, though.
Single fucking time. So we have a society of people that will, I think, whenever the time is right, willingly and beg for Minority Report. And not, I don't mean reporting a black person. I mean the movie. I'm talking about somebody going and actually having, like databases on them, like eye tracking. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they're now mandating, cameras in cars now to be able to detect and turn on and turn off cars at will, and to be able to detect things like drowsiness and other types of inattentive driving behavior. So this is where things are going.
This is true. I don't know if this is limited to a single state, but yes, this is now a thing. That that new cars are going to be manufactured with interior cameras that will be looking at you. And if the AI in those cameras doesn't think you're good enough to drive for whatever fucking reason, your car don't work. That is a real fucking thing right now. Like, every car that's going to be manufactured will be an AI will be the deciding factor if you are able to even use your car in the fucking first place.
The problem is that if you have enough drunk driving, and if you have enough texting and driving, and you have enough of everything in between, you're going to have people that are asking for that. And I think that's the world that we're going towards. And I think this is a very sad thing. I don't want to live in 1984. I don't want to live in, honestly, in some cases, and I think a lot of people, like I was say, I don't want to live in China. But then I'm thinking to myself, well, if you look at Dubai, if you look at China, you look at Singapore, and you look at El Salvador now, you go Google Maps, and I'm not saying everywhere, but many of these places, they're very nice, and there's not shit everywhere, and there aren't a bunch of people sitting around, having a fire with plastic and tires. And so this isn't happening, and they're like passed out like fat zombies. And so I think that what's happening is that this is either a colossal amount of mismanagement that is so bad that it will be seen historically as like an age of decline, or it is being done intentionally. This dysfunction, this unrest, all of these problems are being done intentionally so they can manifest the reality of the next police state, the Patriot Act 2, the the furthering of the reduction in privacy. Do you want to be texting your friend and then you make a joke and it's about something blowing something up, and then immediately you have the police coming and they're shutting down your service because it's been AI parsed, and they have like a complete apparatus and they're using telemetry and they're trying to figure out, well, wait a minute, this guy, I think he's the one, this could be Al-Qaeda, he could be radicalized, it could be one of those incels with a bomb, and then before you know it, you're on a list and you can't use an airplane. And no, I don't want to be in that world. I don't want to live in that world. It's ridiculous. But
basically what he's talking about is he's saying that the US, if things keep going the way that they're going, we are going to start seeing measures put into place that will probably make the UK look like child's play. He's literally talking about the US going into the route of a police state. And if you don't think it's going to happen, look around. Look at the state of things in the country right now. The US is... Don't think that the US isn't looking at the UK and seeing what part of their authoritarianism is working and what isn't. They are taking notes because you have people that are looking at what's happening in the US right now, and they're planning. They're prepping and they're planning. They're saying, okay, at what point, what level are we going to set up, or what level are we going to tag as being the level where we finally pull the trigger and say, we're doing this for your own good, and they turn the country into a police state. It's happening behind the scenes. You're not seeing it, but it is happening right now.
Problem is that because we're not taking the reasonable countermeasures to solve this, I think that the only outcome is that we will have an unreasonable consequence for not solving it, because it will be solved in a more extreme way. Fundamentally,
and by the way, where he's talking about that is where, like, not solving the problems, you can point the finger at basically the state governments and the state legal systems. It's not only the citizenry, too. It's also the state governments and legal systems, because what's going to happen is the federal government is going to be looking at this, and they're seeing the way things are progressing. They're seeing the way things are progressing in places like New York City, in California, in Minnesota, in Texas, in Massachusetts. The people in the federal government are watching this. And they're waiting for the right moment that they can basically pull the trigger on the metaphorical nuclear option and just say, you know what, the country's gotten completely out of control. We're going to do, we're going to exercise this clause or whatever in the quagmire that is the legislation governing the country. Because I guarantee you there's something in there that is going to allow the federal government to do it. Something very similar to martial law. There is something in there that will allow them to do this, and they're waiting for the perfect time to pull that metaphorical trigger. And they've got a number of measures already in place that they're just waiting to deploy.
This type of lifestyle cannot continue. This level of dysfunction cannot continue. You can't have people that are just stealing things wantonly out of every store. Stores are going to be closing, and they already do. And then what happens when that happens? Well, people lose their jobs. What happens when they lose their jobs? Well, they're stealing from the remaining stores. So then you see how this happens? You see, this is the third worldism that I'm talking about. We can't live in this world. This isn't going to work. And so my plea and my ask for so many people, and these are people in the government, people that listen to me, and everybody, is that please stop allowing our culture to be colonized by absolute fucking savages. Why are we allowing ourselves to be totally ruled over by the bottom 2% of people that should be locked in a box for the rest of their life? At least. And this is the thing. I think that this is the most reasonable and the most like acceptable way to do this. And the reason why is because if we don't have that, those people rule over you. They rule over you. I don't think you're going to have some big mass, class awakening. You're not going to have the communist revolution. No, if worst case scenario, the rich people will pay half the poor people to kill the other half. So I'm not really getting excited, and I don't think you should either.
Yeah.
I always see all these people on TikTok and stuff like that. I get this stuff sent to me, and they're saying, well, I can't wait for the revolution. And somebody has a non...
That's just the stupid fuckers on TikTok. They're like, I can't wait for the revolution. Yeah, they don't realize that if the quote unquote revolution happens, they're going to be one of the first people to probably die. Because they're not going to be useful to the revolution. They're a mouthpiece, but when it comes to actual combat, they're going to be fucking useless. So they'll be one of the first people to lose their lives in this theoretical revolution. And by the way, everything that Asmongold is saying here, you know how you can start to fix the problem? And this is going to sound trite, and I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to say this anyway. The way to start trying to fix this problem is to actually vote in people that will fix the problem, locally and on a state level. If you actually start voting in people on a local and state level that will actually make the change, because they are the ones that can basically stop what's happening. It's like the federal government is not the ones that are responsible for stopping these problems in the states. That is the responsibility of the state. And if you have people running the state that are refusing to address the issues or stop the problems, then you need to actually vote in your local elections to get people in there to actually facilitate the changes necessary to take back the state from the invaders. It's the local elections and it's the state elections. Federal elections, yeah, those are a thing. You definitely want to vote in your federal elections to make sure you get people into the Fed that best serve the public interest. Absolutely. But honestly, these local and state elections legitimately are more important than the federal elections. Why? Because the federal government does not control the states themselves. By the Constitution, the states fundamentally govern themselves. The federal government cannot tell a state what to do by law. So the state governments are the important ones to get things under control. If you don't have people in your local and state governments that are willing to do what's necessary to basically address the situation by being tougher on crime, by actually putting people in prison, by actually enforcing the laws, by actually enforcing immigration laws and getting people that are in the country illegally out of the fucking country so they stop stealing from taxpayers and start killing taxpayers. When you can actually get people in locally that will actually do that, it will be a literal trickle up effect. You get people in your local governments, in your city governments. You get people in your city governments that'll do it right. You get sheriffs in there that will actually do their job as a sheriff and actually crack down on crime. You get people in your state government that will actually facilitate either strike down laws that are going against the public interest or enact laws that will basically facilitate public safety and public interest to bring the state under control. When you do that and you get the state under control, that will trickle up to the federal government where you can then now work on voting in people into the federal government for the entirety. Judges are part of for the states that actually have votes for judges. Some states you appoint in, some states you actually vote in the judges. But yeah, for the states where you actually vote in the judges, you vote in the judges. You vote in people that where if the judges are basically being soft on crime and letting criminals out purposefully being pro-criminal instead of pro-citizen, you can maybe vote in people in those states where they can facilitate the removal of those judges, where they can impeach those judges. But again, you need to focus small. Okay, to basically quote from The Patriot, aim small, miss small. You focus on small to get you work on getting the micro And then that can build into the macro and get a trickle up effect where once you fix the macro can then basically be worked into the overarching fix of the issues that are coming. And you do that by getting out and voting locally and voting in regards to like state appointments. That's what you need to start doing, and that's one of the biggest first steps you can take to addressing the issue. And yes, people are going to basically say, "Oh, it's all rigged and all that. Like the federal elections are rigged. It's blah blah blah." I don't care. Get out there and do it. It's too fucking by saying, "Oh, it's all rigged. It doesn't matter anyway." Sorry, that's an excuse. That's a lazy excuse to say my vote doesn't count on small scale. On small scale, you bet your fucking ass it counts. Federally, yeah, I can understand why saying my vote doesn't count because of the way the federal elections work and so on and so forth. Yeah, I get the thought process there. Locally and statewide, you bet your fucking ass your vote counts. We're not talking federally. We're talking local, city, and state. And yes, it counts, and your vote will make a difference in those small elections. Look at what happened with Brandon. Brandon lost his first run by like 400 votes, and that was it. That was a tiny-ass number in that election. Your votes on a local and state level absolutely matter. I'm repeating this over and over again because I want it to get into your heads so you're not dissuaded, so you're not basically apathetic when it comes to state and local elections. Get out there, vote in people that will actually get shit done. You start small and you build from there. That's it.
9mm gun and a Kevlar vest that they got off of Temu. Oh yeah, you're definitely ready for the revolution, buddy. So we have this overwhelming just sense of just complete hubris and bravado that people have on these social media apps. Like this is going to be anything other than a complete crime against humanity. And all I'm saying is that I would rather this problem be a page in the history books instead of an entire chapter. And I think we're moving towards the chapter. Please, can we please just fucking...
All that is good, but Brandon still needed to spend $3 million on top of millions in donations, so he's a special case in running.
Yeah, and that is a whole different thing when it comes to elections. I'm not going to go into that because that's a rabbit hole in terms of campaign finances. Totally different thing. And yeah, Brandon is a federal election. Brandon wasn't a local or state. He was going for a federal appointment. He was trying to be elected to a federal appointment, not a state, not a local one. So yeah, totally different thing here.
Under control? Before we all have to be under control, can we please do this? And I had to make a video and talk about this because it's outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous what's going on and how we've allowed this to happen. And yeah. I want to make this is a plea to everybody. This is a very important value system that I have. I think this is the core tenet of Western civilization. What is Western civilization? Roman law, Greek philosophy, Christian morality. That's what it is. Is there deviation? Absolutely. Is that the rule? Yes, it is. And I would like to go back to that. I would like to go back to that, and I'd like to live in a place where I don't have to go through checks and balances to purchase underwear at Walmart. So anyway, guys, I wanted to make this video in light of the recent assassination and the other amounts of just complete and total unrest that I've seen recently, and I wanted to talk about it and kind of get everybody's opinion and hear what you guys have to think. So, gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure to leave your comments in the section below. I might actually read some of them, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about this, because there's layers to what he was talking about, and it's important to talk about it. It's important to showcase where we're going. It's important to hear him talk about those small, quote-unquote, intimate moments that show you where things are progressing and what we need to do, what we might, some things that we can do to course correct the direction that we're going. And we need to, because he's absolutely right. If we don't see a course correction very, very soon, the United States will become worse than the UK. That's not hyperbole. That's a legitimate concern. And as much as we rail against what is happening in the UK, and if the problems in the US are not addressed really fucking soon, the US is going to be UK 2.0 in terms of being a police state and a big brother country. It will. And if you don't believe that, I'm sorry, you need to take the blinders off. Because it's coming, and we need to stop it.